Hey there, divers and underwater adventurers. As you can probably tell, I'm at the airport, gearing up to check in for an exciting trip to the Spanish island Ibiza. I planned this trip on short notice over the Christmas holidays, but what I absolutely had to bring along was my diving gear. This time, I swapped my usual Apex roller bag for the Eagle Creek 110-liter duffel, and let's just say the gear selection process was a real challenge. With a weight restriction of 23 kilograms on this flight, and outside temperatures in Ibiza hovering around 16 degrees Celsius at this time of year, requiring thicker clothing, I had to get creative when selecting my diving gear. I managed to pack everything I needed and hit 23.4 kilograms, which thankfully was considered acceptable. We flew with Eurowings from Nuremberg to Palma de Mallorca, and from there, continued onward to Ibiza with Iberia. At this time of year, direct flights are almost impossible to find. Additionally, flight prices now include both the cost of the flight itself and an added premium for checked luggage, which seems to be a recent and frustrating development. The second leg of the journey was operated by Iberia on a smaller turboprop aircraft. Keep in mind that when flying multiple legs with different airlines, you should check that the luggage allowance is the same, 23 kilograms, for each leg. Also, ensure you have enough time between flights to collect your luggage, check in again, and complete any necessary transfers. The flight between Mallorca and Ibiza takes only 30 minutes, with a quick arrival at Ibiza Airport. In our case, the aircraft parked so close that we could easily walk straight into the terminal and immediately pick up our luggage. While most people know Ibiza as a party island, it also boasts stunning beaches and beautiful landscapes. After picking up our rental car, we arrived at our accommodation. The next morning, we explore the surroundings. And boy, check out this amazing view. But let's go back a step, and let us take a look at what I actually packed. Here on the table you can see all the clothing, including swimwear. In addition, a toiletry bag which is already in the bathroom. Let's check at this point the weight of the dive gear I brought. And wow, it levels at 12.9 kilograms. Well, this includes my regulators, but let's break it down piece by piece. Interestingly, this means I managed to pack 10.5 kilograms of clothing, shoes, and toiletries. Like most of us, it's likely that I was overpacking with clothing. Now, let's look at the dive gear I actually brought with me. Here, you'll notice that I've drastically cut down on the items compared to what I would typically bring. The regulators I put this time in the checked luggage. I am aware that most of you will say, always put your regs in the hand luggage. From my experience, as long as the regulators are well protected in the bag and the flights involve just one stop where I have to recheck the baggage, I'm comfortable checking them in. Next up is, of course, the back plate and wing system, probably the bulkiest piece of gear in the setup. Ready to go, the system includes an easy-cut cutting tool, a pair of shears, integrated weight pockets, and additional trim weight pockets at the back for better balance. Later, I'll simply thread the waist strap with my Nautilus Lifeline rescue transponder and attach a flashlight, along with an SMB equipped with a reel. Next, we have the fins, mask, and SMB with a reel, all tucked securely into the foot pockets for added protection. The foot pockets are an excellent spot to securely stow fragile gear, eliminating the need for a separate container. I also packed my tech shorts to store some of the gear during the dive, though I'm not entirely sure if I'll end up needing them or be able to wear them. This is mainly because of the thicker thermal protection I'll likely need to wear, given that the water temperature is around 16 degrees Celsius. Of course, I made sure to bring my booties along on this trip. I really should have packed my dive socks to double up on thermal protection for my feet, but I guess I'll have to make do without them this time. I packed my roll-up snorkel, not just for diving, but also in case I decide to go snorkeling, depending on the water temperature. And if I could bring myself to it, of course. My neon pink shirt comes with me on every dive trip. I just hope it still fits over the 10 millimeters of neoprene I'll be wearing this time. My tech shorts once had a sewn-in quick-release belt, but unfortunately, the plastic buckle broke. I replaced it with this nylon belt featuring a tactical quick-release buckle, which you can easily order on Amazon or other retailers. It's now a year old and has held up remarkably well, especially considering the harsh, salty ocean environment. Last but not least is my Telesin selfie stick. This full carbon stick has been an excellent companion, offering impressive durability and robustness, especially since I primarily use it underwater with my GoPro. I find the selfie stick to be the most suitable for my underwater video making, particularly because of its ability to capture self-portraits effortlessly. It's possible that in the next phase of my videography journey, I may transition to using a camera tray, but we'll see how things evolve. So, that's it. Those are the dive gear pieces I packed in my checked luggage. I didn't even bring a safety dive kit, and that's because I knew where I was flying to, and I knew there would be tools available. Dive centers usually have plenty of spare parts anyway. Excellent advice and insights on how to pack for any dive trip can be found on great channels like Diverse Ready. A link is in the description below. In my carry-on bag, I packed my dive computer, GoPro, chargers, laptop, flashlights, and batteries, as these items are high value and often not permitted in checked luggage. I'm excited now to go diving in Ibiza the next days. I've chosen a dive shop nearby in the local marina and am hoping for some great dives. I booked a dive with Aqua Diving Center Ibiza, located in the marina of Santa Eulalia. Getting there is a breeze, and parking is conveniently located close to the shop. The dive is scheduled for Saturday and requires a minimum of 3 divers to proceed. Understandable, as it's the off-season here in Ibiza. The center is well equipped with top-notch gear and has a great setup. I'll show you around in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at our dive boat over there. It's a spacious twin-engine dive boat that can comfortably accommodate 8 to 10 divers, with plenty of seating area for everyone. The sunroof covers almost the entire boat, which is a huge plus, especially during the summer months. The dive deck is spacious enough to allow 2 divers to enter the water simultaneously, and the dive ladder is securely mounted and long enough to make getting out of the water easy and hassle-free. Inside the shop, the gear is neatly organized in the back, and there are plenty of racks available for storing your personal belongings. There are 2 toilets and 2 spacious showers. Once we've geared up, we're all set to depart the marina. Everyone makes final adjustments, checks their gear, and ensures nothing has been forgotten. If you look closely, you'll notice that we're using 3 different approaches to combat the cold water temperature, which is expected to be around 16 degrees Celsius. One diver is wearing a dry suit, likely the coziest option for diving, offering minimal exposure to the cold. The 2 women are outfitted in a 7mm wetsuit, paired with a 3mm shorty and a 2mm top layer underneath. Hoodies and gloves are optional, but recommended. This is all for extra warmth and protection. And third but not least, there's me that I'm wearing only a 7mm wetsuit with a hood and 3mm booties. The dive briefing by Alejandro is, of course, mandatory, all while we enjoy cruising past the cliffs of Ibiza. A brief 15-minute boat ride will take us to Cala Longa Beach down on the south side. At the entrance of the cove, you'll find the Cathedral. Here's Marcos, the captain and owner of the dive shop. Now, he's a fantastic guy with over 24 years of commercial and professional diving experience, not to mention his extensive local knowledge. Arriving at the dive site, there is not much to see above water. The dive site has a maximum depth of 16 to 20 meters, with the entrance to the cave located at a depth of 8 meters. And off you go with the 7mm wetsuit only. This is a great moment to emphasize why it's so important to understand the type of diving you're doing. We're essentially diving right next to the shore, with no current, relatively shallow depth, and a beach just around the corner, making it a relatively safe and accessible dive. That's why I decided to bring only a whistle, flashlight, DSMB, and the 2 cutting tools, which are always securely attached to my BCD. At the start of the dive, we take some time to explore and investigate the surroundings. In Ibiza, you'll see plenty of Neptune grass, an essential part of the marine ecosystem. Most areas with this grass are protected, prohibiting boats from anchoring to preserve it. A beautiful octopus crosses our path, but quickly decides it's better to move out of our way. The cave entrance is now just ahead, and we begin our dive into its mysterious depths. The cave entrance is a massive opening, at least 8 by 8 meters in size. However, as we venture further, the light begins to fade and it grows darker. Time to switch on our flashlights. Looking back, you can truly appreciate the sheer magnificence of the cave. It's an awe-inspiring sight that leaves a lasting impression. Inside the cave, you can surface, which is quite an amazing experience. The contrast of light and shadow, along with the echoes of the water, adds to the cave's magical atmosphere. We thoroughly enjoy this incredible place, but we're also mindful of the potential risks. If the cave lacks natural airflow, CO2 levels could become dangerous. Not entirely certain about the air quality, we decide to err on the side of caution and descend back underwater after a short while. Our path out is unmistakable, guided clearly by the light streaming in from the cave entrance. Now, let's check which wetsuit would be best to tackle the cold water temperatures. As expected, the clear winner for battling the cold is the dry suit. The warm undergarment with integrated boots does an excellent job of keeping you warm, even if your head is exposed and you're not wearing gloves. Coming in as the second best option is the 7mm wetsuit with additional thermal add-ons. It's recommended to pair the 7mm wetsuit with a hood, a sleeveless 3mm top, a 3mm shorty, dive socks, and 3mm booties for optimal warmth. Using the 7mm wetsuit only with a hood and 3mm boots could be a viable option for a single 45-minute dive only. Keep in mind that as a larger male diver, I began noticing signs of cramping and feeling quite cold toward the end of the 45 minutes, wearing the 7mm wetsuit only. Since a dry suit isn't a practical or financial option for the everyday diver, I'd lean 100% toward the 7mm wetsuit with some added thermal layers for extra warmth. I see this as a valuable test for future dive trips to destinations like the Galapagos or Malpelo, where water temperatures can hover around 16 degrees Celsius. As we've seen, packing for a dive trip heavily depends on the type of diving you'll be doing and the specific dive location. For this dive trip, where I did not anticipate daily hardcore diving or challenging remote conditions, it's possible to pack fairly light. Let's sum it up and take another look at the dive gear I packed for this trip and ended up actually using. Essentially the backplate and wing system with my shears and easy cut cutting device. And not to forget a whistle, my regulator mask, fins, boots, a DSMB, and flashlight. You might be wondering, where's the mirror and the Nautilus Lifeline transponder? I forgot to pack the mirror, and I left the Nautilus Lifeline transponder at home since I'll primarily be doing dives near the shore. I ended up not using the tech shorts or the snorkel, both of which I could have easily left at home. Conclusively, the dive gear you bring on a trip can range from just the bare essentials to multiple bags full of equipment. It all depends on the type of diving you plan to do. I hope you found this video enjoyable and informative. See you around, and safe diving.